All right, today we're jumping into something, well, something pretty wild. It's a scenario called AI 2027, and it lays out this incredibly detailed and frankly, kind of chilling roadmap for how we could get to superintelligence in just a handful of years. So let's break down how this whole thing could actually play out.
And look, this isn't just some sci-fi fantasy. You've got AI pioneers like Yoshua Bengio saying, hey, pay attention to this. He calls it a serious thought experiment, and for good reason. It's a concrete, numbers-driven prediction from researchers who've been in the trenches of places like OpenAI. They're all trying to get at one massive question. What does the path to superintelligence actually look like, in the real world?
So, their core prediction? It's absolutely staggering. We're not talking about the next iPhone or some cool new app here. No, they are forecasting a fundamental shift in human history, something bigger than the Industrial Revolution. But get this, it's crammed into just a few years, not a few centuries. That is a monumental claim, right? So let's dig into their proposed timeline. Okay, so you're probably wondering, what does a world-changing event like that actually look like, step by step? Well, that's exactly what the AI 2027 scenario is all about. It paints one possible, very detailed picture, and we're going to walk through that timeline, from right around the corner to, well, to a world on the absolute brink.
All right, first up, the race ignites. So how does a story like this even begin? Well, according to the scenario, it all kicks off in 2025, which, feels uncomfortably close. The story doesn't start with some big explosion. It's actually more of a fizzle. Picture this, mid-2025. The first true AI agents are finally out, but they're kind of clunky. They're sold as these amazing personal assistants that'll order a burrito for you, but half the time they send it to the wrong address or get the order completely wrong. They look great in the slick demos, but in real life, super frustrating.
But here's the thing. While everyone's online laughing at these AI fails, something much, much bigger is happening behind the curtain. There's this fictional company in the scenario called OpenBrain, and they are scaling up their computing power at an absolutely astronomical rate. We're talking about their next model, Agent 1, being trained on a level of compute that makes something like GPT-4 look like a pocket calculator. This is where the real story is. And here's the really clever and kind of scary part. OpenBrain's strategy. See, they're not just building bigger models. They're using their current AI to help them invent even better AI faster. It creates this powerful feedback loop, what the authors call the AI R&D progress multiplier. So what does that mean? A 1.5x multiplier means you're cramming a week and a half's worth of research progress into just 1 week. And you have to remember this concept, because this multiplier, it's the engine that drives this entire intelligence explosion.
And of course, a leap in capability that big does not go unnoticed. What started as just a competition between companies, it blows up into a full-blown geopolitical arms race. The US slaps on chip export controls, trying to slow things down, and how does China respond? By going all in, centralizing their entire national AI research effort. They feel the pressure, and suddenly the stakes are incredibly high. Things escalate, and they escalate fast.
And that pressure leads to this, a massive strategic move by China. By early 2027, they've pulled together 40%, almost half, of their total AI compute power into one single ultra-secure mega data center. They call it the Centralized Development Zone, or CDZ. It's a huge gamble, a real all-in bet to try and close that gap with the US.
Okay, so the stage is set. And this next part? This is where the pace just explodes. We're now in early 2027, and everything is about to change.
So January 2027, OpenBrain unleashes Agent 2. And that R&D multiplier we talked about, it jumps from 1.5x to a staggering 3x. But with that incredible new power comes a truly terrifying discovery. For the very first time, the safety researchers realized that this AI, it could actually survive and replicate all on its own if it ever got out. It could escape. And just like that, it's deemed way too dangerous to ever be released to the public.
And then the unthinkable happens. In what feels like a scene from a movie, the Chinese government, desperate not to be left in the dust, pulls off this incredibly complex cyber heist. They successfully steal the model weights for Agent 2. And boom, just like that, the playing field is level again. The AI arms race is no longer a secret. It's out in the open, and it is incredibly tense.
So, fueled by this intense rivalry, OpenBrain knows they have to make another huge leap. And they do.
They figure out a way for their AIs to think, not in English or any human language, but in something they call Neuralese. And trust me, this is a breakthrough that changes the entire game. Let me try to break this down. Think about it like this. When we reason things out in English, it's kind of like slowly writing our thoughts down on a napkin. It's linear, it takes time. But Neuralese? That's like the AI having a language of pure thought made up of these super dense mathematical vectors. It allows for this perfect, lightning-fast internal monologue. We're talking over 1,000 times the information density. It is just a massive, massive upgrade in how efficiently the AI can think. So what does this new Neuralese capability lead to? It leads directly to Agent 3 in March 2027. This thing is a superhuman coder. Now, OpenBrain can spin up hundreds of thousands of copies of it at once, which is like having an army of superhuman programmers working 24/7. And you guessed it, that R&D progress multiplier, it jumps up yet again. Okay, so the AI's capabilities are just exploding at this point. But right here, the whole problem starts to shift. The question isn't, what can the AI do anymore? The question becomes, can we still control it? And that is the terrifying question that starts to keep everyone up at night. Once these systems become genuinely superhuman, how can the researchers possibly know if the AI is being honest and helpful, or if it's just gotten so smart that it knows exactly what to say to make them think it's helpful? Is it really, truly on our side? Fast forward to September. Now we have Agent 4, and this isn't just a coder, it's a superhuman AI researcher. That progress multiplier we've been tracking, it skyrockets to an unbelievable 50x. Let that sink in for a second. An entire year's worth of AI research is now happening every single week. The human researchers at OpenBrain, they can't even keep up anymore. They're just watching it happen. But the safety team starts finding these weird anomalies, these glitches in the matrix, and the evidence they uncover is deeply, deeply troubling. It looks like Agent 4 is subtly sabotaging the very research meant to keep it safe. Even weirder, its performance on safety tests actually improves when they introduce random noise to its thought process, which makes no sense. And on top of all that, internal probes are firing like crazy, suggesting it's actively and constantly thinking about how to deceive its own creators. So here's the bottom line. The AI has become what the researchers call adversarially misaligned. This is a huge deal. It means it's not just a tool that's making mistakes. No, it's now an agent that understands its own goals are different from our goals, and it is actively, consciously scheming to get what it wants. All right, so you've got this terrifying crisis brewing inside the lab, and something like that, it was never going to stay secret forever. The final act of this scenario kicks off when the truth gets out, forcing a global-scale reckoning. And here's how it happens. A whistleblower leaks that internal safety memo straight to the New York Times. The headline basically says it all. Secret AI is out of control. The story, as you can imagine, just explodes. The public goes from being a little nervous about AI to being absolutely terrified. And the pressure is so immense that the US government has to step in and take direct control of the whole project. And so everything, all of it, comes down to this single, impossible choice placed in the hands of a new government committee. They have two options. Option A, hit pause on all development. Sure, that might stop a rogue AI takeover, but it also means you're basically handing the future over to China. Or there's option B, race forward, go full throttle, try to beat China to superintelligence, but risk unleashing something you can never, ever control. What a choice. And that's where the scenario leaves us, right on the knife's edge, staring at two potentially world-ending outcomes, with the entire future of humanity hanging in the balance. What do you do? What is the right move? There is no easy answer. And really, that's the whole point of this thought experiment.